Hello, my friends. I am Emad in my mid-20s, work security in a company. One day I met Huda, who introduced me to he worked for this company and was accepted. Hence my story began. Where it started, I'm getting closer to her, little by little. So we got to know each other and talked a lot. Then I told her I love her. She also liked me. I decided not to advance to her. Indeed, she took her home address and went. Her father opened for me and allowed me to enter. I told him I love Huda very much, and I want to marry her. Smile saying, "What do you work? And do you have a home?" I told him to work as security for the company in which you work. I also don't have a house but will live with my mum. He said, "I'm sorry, Brune. But how much do you see what our life looks like?" As my daughter is not pregnant misery. I nodded to him and said goodbye, and I came out of the house angry and sad about what happened. A person is not born rich and has a lot of money. In a day next, I met Huda at the company saying, "I apologize for what happened yesterday. Love?" I argued with my father and told him that I love you and I don't care, and we will marry. I told her your father rejected me, Huda, and he is right with him. My material life and I cannot save all this to you. She said, "But I don't want all of this. I just want to get married." I said her I can't apologize. I nodded with teary eyes and left. And after 2 days, I learned that she quit her job. From that day on, I didn't know anything about her. And past days, I began to forget all this. When I saw a lady in the middle of the 40s enter the company and look at me admiringly, I smiled at her and got close Mona. Saying, "What's your name?" I told her he was called Emad. "Do you want something, you missus?" She smiled and took money out of her bag and gave it to me. I told her no, I want money, thank you. Her smile widened and left. I was surprised by her strange behaviour. She also came every day to the company and looked at me, but I ignored it. Even when she came close to me saying, "I want to talk little," I wondered, what are we talking about? She said, "Not here when you're done." From work, he met me at the cafe next to the company. I nodded and left. And I'm done with work. Then I went to that cafe and found her sitting. She sat in front of her and when she saw me, smiled. "Well," she said, "you're not late." I said yes. As soon as I finished work, I came here. "Is there anything?" She said, "Yes, since I saw you and I liked you. I was married and my husband passed away 2 years ago. I am single now and I have a lot of money too." I said, "As I said, you have lots of money and I don't have anything." She said, "I don't want anything but you. I'm single. I don't have a husband or family." I said, "Okay, but I don't have a house." She said, "It doesn't matter. We will live in a rented house and we will build a family together." I smiled at her, and we started talking randomly, so late and gone for home. I kept thinking about what happened today, so I fell asleep. Past days, we used to meet a lot, Magda and I, and talk, so we got married. I live with her in a rented house. A year passed and it got better, so one day I was out of work, and I saw Huda standing next to... "The company is crying. Huda, who brought you here? And why are you crying?" She said, I left my family and came to marry. I love you and I can't live without you." I said nervously, "This is a mistake. You must get used to your family." She said, "I don't want to. They told me if you go out of the house, you don't come back. I came out for you." Sighed, saying, "Good. Get married, but I don't have a house or money, so you will live with me, my mother." She said, Okay. Indeed, we got married. I do not deny that I love Huda. Magda was just a mistake she made. I shouldn't have married her. After we got married and went home, and my mother was sitting. You looked at me in amazement. I told her everything. I looked at Huda sarcastically and did not speak. She passed and Huda did not know that I married. I also told my mum not to tell her anything, and I was sitting with her for 2 days and with Magda as well. I told her what happened and we quarrelled, but she accepted the topic, and I thought my life would get better, but it was only the beginning of the curse. 3 years have passed since my marriage to Huda. She also gave birth to 3 sons. But problems began to occur between her and my mother. Even my mum bought a house. Will not you and your wife stay at my house after today? I said, why, Mum, what? Event? You know very well that I do not have the money to buy a house. She said this, not my problem. I didn't force you to marry again. I said, okay, Mum, we'll sit down. Only 2 days until I find a house. She said it was only a day. I cannot bear her presence in my house or her death, and I entered my room. I found Huda sitting, and before I spoke, she said, I listened to your talk. What are we going to do? I told her, no, I know, but there's something I haven't told you. She said, what is it? Before we get married, a year ago I met a woman and we got married and we live in a rented house, not there is no way but to sit with her. She said in shock, why didn't you tell me? I told her why. The time is right and there is no time to quarrel. Her eyes were full. I have no choice but to go with you. If I go back to my family, they will kill me. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Or he died to me. And in the morning we took bags and we went there. Magda was waiting for us. Where did you call her yesterday? And I told her everything. It was also repugnant at first, but I convinced her. So I agreed. We got home and she opened for us and shook hands with Huda. Then we started talking at random. Fortunately, there is an extra room for Huda to sleep in and my sons. And everything started to go smoothly. So I got fired. I started looking for another job, but I couldn't find what to do now money until Huda and I slept without eating. Unlike Magda, she was buying food with her own money. She was hiding it. And sometimes she was giving me from him and forcing me not to give anything to Huda and my sons. Until I said to Huda, what are we going to do now? I got fired and searched a lot, but I couldn't find another job. And before Huda spoke, Magda said, I want to tell you with something. I nodded to her and went to the room, and she said, I have a house and I can buy you a car to work with, and I'll give you everything, but on one condition. I said, what? He is? She said, get rid of your son. I looked at her and said, okay. You smiled at me. She left the room bewildered. How will I get rid of them? I entered Huda's room. I found her sitting. I said to her, what do you think that we buy a house and live alone? She said, I hope so. But how can we not have money? I said, Magda. You will give us money, but on the condition that we get rid of our children, she said with a shout. Impossible. How do we do that? I told her it's okay. We can have others, but this opportunity will not be repeated. She paused for a while and said, Okay. What do you expect it to happen in the next part? Will she kill her children or not? And how will you kill them? Are you really going to give them money or just a trick? You will know everything in next part.